Come through, queen. I wanna see ya. Come through, queen.
Hi, everyone. It's Dan.
And Brendan.
And this has Come Through, Queen. So, as we mentioned during last week's episode, we are on vacation this week.
Yes.
This is a Patreon bonus episode. We're giving you a tease of what we're discussing here on the main feed, but you should head on over to comethroughqueen.com for a link to the Patreon to get the full episode. We're discussing this week something that's very timely. We have the RHONY hard reboot coming just around the corner, and we thought it'd be the perfect time to look back when we did the soft reboot.
Yes, season 5, episode 1. If you remember what happened after season 4, Cindy Barshop, Kelly Cloran Ben Simone, Jill Zarin, and Alex McCord were all fired. And they hired some new girls. And back then, the world was skeptical.
So, I mean, this was like the first franchise to do like a major overhaul. And this was, sit down for this, June 2012. 11 years ago.
Oh my God.
Like,
what a chic modern time.
This really was maybe like the ushering in of like the mid era.
Like it was ushering in the time in our lives when we could be like easy breezy, beautiful.
Okay. Cover girl?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like 2012 to early 2016 really was a special time.
Those were the special times. Okay. I want to point out also, so I'm pointing out dates. I want to point out taglines. The new girls are the first 3 taglines.
I know. They're not trying to ease us in here.
And I don't think I noticed that at the time. I'm noticing a lot of things now with like the passage of time.
And with analytical eyes, when back then you were just watching casually.
Just glazed over. Yeah, because this predates the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
Actually, the podcast ushered in the tumultuous era.
it really did. We like broke something in the universe.
Yeah.
Okay. So we start with Lou and Aviva.
And can I just say, to be introduced to a new housewife in this very specific way, going to have lunch with Luann outside at the boathouse in Central Park, wearing this, I don't believe in fur, but wearing this gray fur.
Oh, it could be faux fur.
It could be faux, yeah.
And okay, so I think it made sense to start with her because of the 3, even though Carol Radziwill was probably a more famous person, Aviva had the Drescher name.
Yes.
And we all know Fran Drescher.
Cousin to Fran, head of SAG-AFTRA, who I'm not...
Present day, yeah.
Yeah, who I'm not in on the conversations about SAG-AFTRA necessarily, but I've heard from afar that people might not be that thrilled with her performance.
Okay. So like...
But don't yell at me if that's wrong.
So it's like the performance of the lifetime was the nanny.
Well, truly.
Not President SAG-AFTRA.
Who knows, though?
Not necessarily our wheelhouse. Okay. But the boathouse, like very Sex and the City vibes.
Very Sex and the City. It's fall in New York City. It's chic.
Yeah. I mean, we are, though, still dipping into the Hamptons in this first episode, which was like one of the tricks of prior seasons.
Yes.
That we eventually abandon on RHONY.
Exactly, because we go to the Berkshires.
Yeah. Okay. The way that Lou describes it, of like, oh, I met Aviva like at a party, just like we were 2 attractive women who noticed each other and started talking.
That's what happens. That's like, if you, instead of said women, like if you put gay man, that's like the ritual that like we as gay men have.
Sure. Sadly, I'm not one of the attractive ones, so I have not had that happen to me. Okay. Obviously, we know Lou speaks every language, but it was a little jarring for me to see Aviva speak French.
Yeah, I mean, she went to, where'd she go?
She went to, she was living in France for like 4 or 5 years.
Which later will become surprising to think about after we hear about her issues traveling and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my God,
Yes.
I know. Like so many things like never really registered with me first go around. Okay, we have a Harry Dubin flashback. Now, it was from a prior season.
Season 4.
But did we actually like call him by his name during that season?
I don't think so.
So we're only like bringing him to light now because of the circumstances.
Yeah, this was Sonia's masquerade party where like was kind of the first time we were learning Sonia's true self. Because season 3, she was only given half the season and she was so chic.
A different woman, really.
I thought it was Meryl Streep. And then we kind of realized that she's a disaster.
Yeah. Or like started leaning into maybe like what she thought the fans wanted.
Maybe she started getting really drunk. In that scene, she had forgotten like the bloomers in her costume that was designed by Chris March.
Of course.
Yes.
Chris March. Yeah. So, but I think like during season 4, we must have already had a toaster conversation because like in this episode, we're bringing the toaster up again.
Yes. I think she started laying the land. I think she did like a photo shoot with like toast that said SM on it. It's famous. Look it up.
Okay. So we have Sonia hosting a party at the townhouse, which is funny because like it didn't register with me when we did this the last season of RHONY that it's kind of like a callback to this, really.
Oh, when she
Had
invited
Ebony.
Ebony over for like that backyard like diner, that backyard like dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a callback. And it is the first time that we're meeting 2 of our wives. And this in season 5 was also back when like the townhouse still seemed a little chic.
Except like now I'm looking at it and seeing those clocks on the wall, like we're at like the UN or the airport with like different times for different time zones is, I would say, not chic.
But in 2012, we're like, this is international.
Oh, okay.
You throw a few fairy lights up and like, you're like, this is chic.
Okay. And then the way we're kind of like commenting on the soft reboot of Sonia being like, oh, you know, the only thing worse than stale brioche are stale friends.
Right.
So I'm doing fresh friends, fresh food, fresh ambiance.
It's beautiful.
Oh my God. Okay. So we got Mama and Carol walking in together. Mama being Heather Thompson, of course.
Mama brings the vouv.
Mama brings the vouv. And Lou in the confessional is like, oh, it's great to see new faces. Which like is interesting that she's saying that because like you were Jill's soldier.
I know, but it's the paycheck is the paycheck. And the fame is the fame. And Jill's no longer on TV.
Yeah. And you said we only had 2, but we had all 3 of them here of the new girls.
Yeah, Viva comes.
Oh yeah, Viva comes later. Yeah. The way
I don't even think she comes later because I think in that first introduction she's already gagged by Carol Radziwill.
Okay, yeah. I mean, the way that Aviva's like, the fan is jumping out.
Yeah.
Which, to go on the short journey that we go on with Aviva to eventually land at Writer Girl.
It's so interesting. And this is a writer, like Carol at this point, this book had been out for what, 5, 10, not 5, 10 years, but like 5, 6, 7 years maybe?
I want to say like 6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah, because Oprah was like 2006 for sure.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting that this one writer with this one book has brought you along this far.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the book. I mean, she was connected to the family.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
You know? Okay, so Sonia knows Heather. She's always bumping into her around town, but she had not met Carol.
Right.
And I like that, like, she was like, oh, I'm surprised by that, because, like, my connection to the Kennedys.
She used to party with John John.
And then Carol's explanation is like, well, I say below 14th Street.
Which is so... I feel like this generation, like, that's coming up now, like, doesn't know about that. But, like, our generation, when we arrived in New York, that was still very much in the convo.
Yeah. Especially because I want to point out Aviva and Heather are in their early 40s in this. So, like, the fact that they're, like, almost peers here.
Oh, my God.
I mean, we have to remember, like, when Alex started, she was in her early 30s.
Yeah.
I know. It's just so crazy.
It's interesting now that we're, like, 10 years, 11 years older.
Yeah.
So I was 24 watching this?
I mean, it came out in 2012.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. And now you're in a full-blown adult.
I know, full-blown.
Dan here, stopping the fun of this preview. But of course, you could head on over to comethroughqueen.com for a link to our Patreon for the full, over 30-minute long bonus episode recapping this season 5 premiere of RHONY. You also have 90 bonus episodes, over 160 pre-show episodes to catch up on if you've never listened to our Patreon before. So while we're on vacation, it's the perfect time for you to go on there and support us. And we'll be back next week with our regular schedule. We'll have the Martha's Vineyard finale to talk about, as well as Orange County and Atlanta. And we'll see you there. So like, comment, subscribe, heart, share, retweet. Bye.
I wanna see ya come through, Queen.